too bad. I'll just sit here and listen to you. All right. Hey, everybody. We are back. I apologize for that. I'm not really sure what happened. We had a small technical issue. We are going to try to start streaming this all over again. 1 second. My dog's trying to take over my dog is trying to wreck the whole place now. So, Colin, you can hear me well?
I can.
All right.
You hear me
I can
okay?
hear you well.
Good.
Hopefully this is better for everybody else's ears. If anybody out there is listening, give us a shout. I'm going to jump over to Facebook right quick and share this around so everybody knows that we are back up and running. Yeah, it sounds better on your end as it is already.
Sounds good.
Yes. All right. Share. All right, get some shares going out there. Hopefully this picks up. See if we get some. Sounds great, we're told. First person, right out of the gate. We sound great now. So there, whatever the issue was, I'm not really sure, but I guess it's because I have my MacBook set up for everything, and I had to use the desktop tonight, which made a little bit difference in it, I guess.
All right. That happens.
Hey, it does happen. All right. We're back at her. That's right. We're driving her now. That's hammer down and on the road. So yeah, like we were saying before we got shut down there for a minute, maybe it's because you're on here, right? There's so much stardom just to shut the internet down.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. Yeah. So we were talking about, like, for anybody that wasn't here and is just joining in now, Colin was gracious enough to play us a tune already. And we had a little bit of chat about the band and adding Scott back to the band after being original. And after you said that, it clicked in my head that I'm pretty sure it's Can't Get No Love. Like, it's just the boys playing it out in Myra, I assume.
Right.
Breaking on the wine. Like, that's an old video.
No, that was out in Stony Creek, Ontario.
Stony Creek, Ontario. Fancy.
Yeah.
Fancy. Yeah, no, that is if you look up Pretty Archie, that's one of your probably the oldest videos on there, and it's just the boys sitting around playing. So it's come a long way.
Yeah. We kind of I think we grew up on the run, We played our first gig in Banff when we first got the band together, and I think we maybe rehearsed like 4 times. So we really started from, we had played together growing up and everything, but not really in a band setup, not the way we would have to. So we were kind of going by just closing our eyes and going with it for the first long time there as a band. But that was kind of good for us because it gave us, taught us a lot of lessons. But it also, I thought it made us a lot of who we are today because, if you're trying to play your own songs in a pub in nowhere Alberta or nowhere Ontario, nobody's ever heard of you before, then you have to learn how to make your own songs entertaining, make them speak to people. And I think it helped us a lot as songwriters because you realize, if it's 12:30 at a pub, it's good to have a few good bluegrass hoedown songs in the back pocket. It's good to have a few that you write that are like that,
Yeah, you want somebody to be able to sit there and go, I've never heard of this guy in my life. And then the next tune you play, they're up and the feet are starting to stomp, and next thing you know, you get a dance floor packed. And I'll say that anytime you guys play, it doesn't matter where you are, from your early days right up to now, your dance floor is packed. The people are up and they're waltzing to the slow ones and they're just driving her when it's fast ones. So you just know how to fill a floor, and it shows your maturity through music of doing that, right? Like, you have come together as a band and you all feed off one another on the stage.
For sure. Yeah, that's it's a big part of how we have fun too, but it's one of those things, the more experience you get, the easier it is to kind of take the crowd with you. You play a few fast ones and play a few slow ones, you get a feel for the rhythm of a show.
Yeah.
and it helps a lot in terms of, what do we want to play here? Well, this might be a fast one here. And say, okay, well, what do we have of our own? That's a fast one. And then you say, well, what's a cover we want to play? So it makes it easier to kind of, the more experience you have at kind of planning out sets and playing in front of different audiences, the better off you get at it. You get more experience.
You're not playing at home every night.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like for example, like we were talking about before, like I did the your Terry Stole a Christmas Cheer show with Dylan back there in December, and 90% of the room was family and friends. So like, what to hit them with, like,
100%.
What's going to happen.
Yeah.
But when you're in, Canmore, BC or Fort St. John, Alberta.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. There's capers there, but at the same time, they're not all capers. So you got to win the hearts of the other crew that's there too.
Right. And sometimes we, like, our last trip out west in the fall was mostly like small theaters, so people are sitting down, 200 or 300 people sitting down and enjoying the show. So in that case too, we're not looking to really blow the barn doors down. We're trying to mix it up a bit more. So you do have to play the audience a lot that way.
Yeah.
Luckily for us nowadays,
you're not going to be up on the seats ripping her apart at the Savoy.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to kind of play to your venue and play to your audience a bit. But ultimately, we just kind of, they hired the boys, they hired us, right? So you just be yourself, you play the tunes you want to play, and it's good. We're just lucky that a lot of our tunes people have a good time to, they enjoy, in the sense like they can get up and have a dance, or they can cheers their brother next to them, they can do all that kind of stuff to our tunes pretty well. So, and
your songs are relatable. Like, everybody can understand, that, I work hard and the day is done. Like, yeah, I'm it's very, as much as you say it's bluegrass music, it's very blue collar music
for
too,
sure.
right?
Yeah,
everybody can relate to it.
Yeah, and I think that's something we've always tried to focus on, like, even from the beginning, was just being honest with our writing and being truthful. So if you're being honest and genuine, you write about things you kind of know about or have some experience in, or at least are closely related to. So all these themes that we write about are themes that we have grown up with or deal with on a daily basis. So it's not forced, because people can tell the difference between singing about living check to check versus and actually living check to check versus singing about living check to check but being, well off. Or so that you really have to be genuine when you're right. It goes a long way in terms of people believing you.
Yeah, and that's exactly where it hits home. I don't think there's been an album that you guys have put out that something hasn't hit home with somebody.
That's right. Yeah, and that's the best thing for us too. And we used to, I think part of it too, when we were first getting going, you'd worry about hey, is this theme going to translate to Calgary? Are people in Toronto going to care about this seashore song? Then you realize as you go on that these themes are universal. The characters change, the jobs change, but the struggle and the strife that you're really singing about is the same no matter where you go. Like, we were over in Germany, this would be 2 summers ago, and we're up in this northern rural German town, Flensburg, and played this great show, and this German guy comes up to us after young guy, and he said, oh, that song, he was talking about Tell Me You're Leaving, which is one off of our Sing-Along Love Songs album. But it's about, those people who say they want to leave Cape Breton and they're always planning on leaving and they might not ever get out,
Yeah.
And this guy in Germany thought it was the greatest thing ever. He said, that was basically my autobiography, that life. and it's like, so once those kind of stories pile in, you realize these themes that you write about, they seem very East Coasty and Cape Breton to us, but ultimately I think it's worldwide. It's a pretty universal themes like love and struggle and things like that. So
everybody got the same heartaches.
Exactly. Yeah. Heartache doesn't have a language.
Well, music has a universal language, period.
That's right.
So it just depends on what goes on. So I see you got the harp on your neck there.
Is it loud out there or what?
Sounds fine to me. Anybody want to give a little shout out on what it sounds like in their ears? I will say hello to your front man and bandmate, Brian Cathcart, who is here. right
Guy.
along with us. And like
Brian
you and
Lyon.
Brian have been friends since high school. Like I didn't really know Brian in high school. I knew you. You were a few years behind me, but I do remember seeing Brian kicking along the halls of Sydney Academy way back when.
It's really that's the best part about it too. And that was one thing I was going to say about Scotty earlier is when we're bringing him back in the fold. The coolest part, Scott's a great musician, a fantastic player, and a really good songwriter. He's contributed a lot since he's gotten back into the fold. But like the best part is he was our best friend in high school too, best friend growing all up. So I've literally been best friends with these guys in my band for a long, long, long time. So to travel the world and all over Canada and stuff with your best buddies for
that's great, right? Like you
it's
get to hang
really
out with your
cool.
buds and have fun and
So the
get paid.
luxury of having Scott, like another best friend of mine that's a killer player, the luxury of having him be able to step in is just, we're so lucky that he was available basically to step in when Matt had to take time off with the young one. So yeah, just stupid luck that way. So it's great having them all.
It works out
friends.
though, man. It works out perfect, right? Because you can tell the fun and the camaraderie when you're up there on stage, right?
For sure, yeah. It's I hope so. Anyway, I hope it comes through. You know,
yeah,
it really
through. Absolutely, it comes through. So, like I said, you got the harp on. Brandon Bates says that you sound good. He's tuned in there, and I'm sure I'm going to give a quick shout out to a very good mutual friend of both of ours, and she's kind of known as a dance floor queen for Pretty Archie when it comes to wherever you're playing. We're going to give a shout out to Tasha Dunn, who is a healthcare worker who is working every day. So
yeah, hero.
I think we'll send this next tune out to Tasha for all those amazing things that she's doing, going to work every day. And
yeah, all the heroes.
Yeah, they're all heroes out there. But for right now, we're going to put the spotlight on Tasha because she's here partying along with us. And I'm sure we all know that Tasha's been a big Pretty Archie fan since way back when.
All right, well, maybe I'll do a 2-pack then, if that's okay.
Hey,
I'll do 2 songs.
You're the man with the guitar, buddy.
This, actually, I don't need this guy for this first. But this first one here, it's a good example of one of those tunes I was talking about where I don't think the band will ever play this one. It's a little specific. It's kind of not really what the band would do, but it's still a fun song to have, you know? So not all songs end up being something. Sometimes they're just diddly diddlies in the in the living room, you know? So this one's about every group of friends has that place where it's a barn or it's a kitchen, it's somebody's attic that they always get together in, and it just feels like a party home, you know? It's when I think of a party, I think of this place. So I was starting to think about that and writing it, and then I realized I'm blessed to have a lot of good buddies, you know? And one in particular owns this house that we go to all the time. And I was just thinking of, I've known him forever too, and of all the ups and downs I've had through life, he's been there. So I kind of melded those 2 ideas, came up with this one. And it's about a road in Ashby, which automatically makes it good in my books.
Well, hey, nothing wrong with Ashby.
Lately I've been thinking about Elvis, all the ways he led me wrong. He started me down this broken path I'm traveling on. 'Cause he fed my rebel fire when he played that blues so well. But I don't like living in this heartbreak hotel. So there's a place where I can stay, and all my worries and time slip away. Lay down that heavy load and come have a drink on St. Peter's Road. I wonder how people get through it, 'cause I'm just getting by. It seems I get all the bad luck and I don't know why. I haven't paid a bill since some oil last November, and it's been cold in Sydney forever. But there's a place where I can stay, and all my worries and time slip away. Lay down that heavy load come have a drink on St. Peter's Road. And people tried to warn me to change my ways. The future comes knocking someday. But I didn't listen, I didn't break or bend. Now I'm high and lonesome and I need a friend. Sometimes I think I see it in places we would drive to, but every single time it ain't you. I thought you'd always be with us, now you're a picture on a wall. And it's getting hard to remember your laugh at all. But there's a place where I can stay, and all my worries and time slip away. Lay down that heavy load and come have a drink on St. Peter's Road.
I'm pretty sure if you live in the CBRM, there's probably at one point you've had a drink on somewhere on St. Peter's Road.
Well, it's a big street.
It is a pretty big street. From one end of town to the other.
And I guess while we're on the topic of streets in Ashby, maybe I'll do another one about a street in Ashby. Well, this one's about falling in love with somebody, and that whole time you just you're hoping and you're wishing that they'll meet you in the middle, you know. You're just hoping that maybe somewhere in the back of their mind they're thinking of you too. And that whole time you're hoping they meet you in the middle. In this love song's case, the middle was Cabot Street, another great Ashby street.
Another one that goes coast to coast.
That's right. Another
Cottage
big
Road,
long one. Yeah.
Cottage Road, right up to food.
Hey, Emerald Eyes, what you doing tonight? Tell me how you spend your time. I wish I knew. Hey, Emerald Eyes, do you think of me? I'm the love drunk kid up the street, and all I think about is you. And I swear my love is true. So meet me anywhere, rain or snow, well I don't care. There's nothing in this world to keep me from you. And tell me how you feel, do you miss your dad, do your friends see me? There's no secret that I couldn't keep. So meet me down on Cabot Street. Long black hair, do you like it here? Or do you miss your home? I need you to stay. A pretty smile with all the style, I hope you know how I feel, 'cause sometimes it's hard to say. But any amount of time with you I take. So meet me anywhere, rain and snow, well I don't care. There's nothing in this world to keep me from you. And tell me how you feel, do you miss your dad, do your friends see me? There's no secret that I couldn't keep. meet me down on Cabot Street. Hey, Emerald Eyes, what you doing tonight? Tell me how you spend your time. I wish I knew. Hey, Emerald Eyes, you think of me? I'm the love drunk kid up the street, and all I think about is you. All I think about is you. So meet me anywhere, rain or snow, well I don't care. There's nothing in this world to keep me from you. And tell me how you feel, do you miss your dad, do your friends see me? There's no secret that I couldn't keep. So meet me down on Cabot Street.
Another great tune from Colin Gillis.
Another Ashby song.
Another Ashby song from Colin Gillis. I'd like to welcome anybody that's just joining in now. I am your host, Sean O'Connell, and I am pleasured to be met with tonight from the Pretty Archie band, Colin Gillis.
What's going on?
From Cape Breton.
That's right.
Cape Breton. From Ashby. The mean streets of Ashby.
That's right.
Sydney, Nova Scotia. So, Colin, when you hear Pretty Archie, everybody knows somebody in Pretty Archie around here, and there's been so many stories of who's Pretty Archie.
Right. Yeah.
Can we enlighten some of our new viewers that have never heard, let alone of Pretty Archie, but where the name came from, so there's a little bit more clarification? Because I'm a guy that's all about, like, how did you come up with that when it comes to songwriting or the band name or anything that involves music. So, can we open up the secret doors there? I know the story. There's some other people that have heard the story, and you used to tell the story quite a bit when you did live shows. So
yeah, we still have to a lot of the time. It's always the first question on every small town newspaper article, that kind of stuff. It's always the first question, so we're definitely used to it.
Yeah, they probably most
Pretty
times
Archie.
they think it's they think Brian's name is Archie and he's Pretty Archie.
I don't know who's thinking that. We were at one show up in Cape North, and friends of ours were out sitting in the audience. They overheard two old ladies in the back wondering if Redmond was Brian's son. So I don't know if Brian's pretty necessarily. He's pretty old, if anything.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Really laugh on that one.
Yeah, no, Pretty Archie, he was this guy who used to busk outside the mall in Glace Bay and the City River Mall too. And he wasn't all there. He'd wear a hockey helmet and he'd play 2 or 3 string guitars. But when Brian was younger, his grandmother would say, "Jesus, boy, get in the room. You sound like Pretty Archie out there," when he was first learning guitar. So ever since, he thought that'd be a good band name, and it's really cool because it's good. It's a good enough name, I guess, but it's cool when capers notice it when you're over in Alberta or Saskatchewan and somebody from back home kind of has an idea of the story. Then it's pretty neat, Yeah,
it's got home roots.
Yeah, that's the main thing we wanted from it, was just to have some sort of, shout out to home.
Yeah, and that's the best way without having your name as Cape or Breton.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. Nothing against anybody that has that, Breton Brewing.
No, but
But you know what I mean, right? Like when you want something that's distinctive and that's a brand and that's really stands out. So
Totally, yeah.
right, and nobody in 1,000 years would go, oh, pretty Archie. One of them must be named Archie, and he's pretty.
Well, everybody says there's so many people come up and they say, "Which one of y'all is Archie? Which one of you guys is Archie?"
You just have to start changing it up on who's Archie that night.
Yeah.
So, Colin, like we've talked about the band, from the early days to Scott coming back to where he's at now. The release of the new EP, Running for Cover, which is, like you said, it's cover tunes that you just don't normally do. I know you did do Linger before with Jimmy Inch. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what I was saying. Like a lot of these songs we've been playing for like the better part of a decade, So we've been playing all these ones forever from a live show perspective. We just never really like went in and recorded them for any like, or at least did it seriously and on purpose kind of thing, going and record a few of these. But yeah, we recorded Linger with Jimmy. That's like, and that must have been 5 years ago. So that's
Yeah.
how long we've been playing it. We've been playing it and playing it forever. So
Yeah, and you like played it in a basement.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
and you recorded it with a video. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's neat because that was one of the cool parts about recording this EP was we're looking at trying to pick a couple of cover songs, and we're looking back at all the places you played these songs. We ran a little contest on Facebook for people to suggest covers that they've heard us play that they'd want to hear, and then say where they heard it. And like half these places people were coming up with, I was like, oh my God, I forgot we were in Brandon, Manitoba. And then it's like, oh, I forgot we were over here. So it was really neat to kind of think of all the places we've played these
That's
ones.
a little refresher for you too, right? So you can kind of, oh yeah, I forgot about that show. Oh, now I remember being there. Remember when Redmond did this? Remember when
Yeah.
Redmond drank the really warm beer that he found behind the seat? Not that that's a Redmond kind of thing to do.
No, I think a Redmond story actually makes it harder to remember a specific spot.
Well, yeah, that's you.
It'd be easier to remember if it was a spot that didn't have a Redmond story.
Not picking on Redmond or anything.
No.
He's a great guy. It's just he always comes with a good story.
That's right. Yeah.
Everybody has a Redmond McDougall story. Everybody.
Oh God, if you don't, I don't know. You must just not have met him yet.
Yeah, exactly. And if you do, you'll have a story immediately right then and there. It's funny because when we first started tonight, I said, I've known you for 20 years now, and we played basketball together and whatnot. And I was Redmond's coach at a summer camp way back when, and it was the night that I met you at the Triangle, and you told me that you were playing in the band. I was actually working the door there as a doorman, and I remember standing on the door, and I told the story a few weeks ago. And I remember standing there, and you're a doorman, so you're there for security, and this little guy comes up and cracks me with a cane in the back of the leg, and I turn around and I look, and like, it's hard to see here, but like I'm 6'3", so like I'm not small. And then I turn around and here's this guy, and he says, "Do you remember me?" And I'm, God, I don't know. He's like, "Well, you should." I'm like, "Oh, okay. How should I know you?" And he's like, "Do you remember going to a basketball camp in 1997 in East Bay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you remember a guy that just run around and really wouldn't listen to anybody?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Remember his name?" I'm like, "Oh." He's like, "Was it Redmond?" I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "That's me."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still doing the same.
Well, yeah, that's absolutely. I just found it really hilarious that he literally swung and cracked me with his cane.
Oh, you had that cane for a long time.
Wow, yeah,
that was a rough tour on him.
Yeah, and I didn't see him forever. Like it was at that point, it was probably about 20 years or more, and he was only a little kid when I coached him, so I'd never remember him.
Now he's just little.
Well, yeah, he's still
not a little kid anymore.
I absolutely love him. He's one of my favorite people to run into whenever I run into him. We always have a usual few minutes telling one another off with love.
Yeah, he's a pretty good guy.
So, Colin, how about we hear another tune? I know you said Pretty Archie with the EP. was kind of like the breaking the ice to get you back into the studio mode, to get back in there and record a new album? Is there something new that you are really steered
Well,
towards a new album?
like we've been doing a lot of writing for it, so we've been working a lot at getting the new tunes together, and we're pretty far along that way. But we still haven't like booked studio time yet or anything, so we're still a little ways away. But the EP was just kind of a way to, instead of having to rush and try to get a new single out as to put something out, you know, so for something people to listen to, instead of rushing a new single when we didn't have the album really figured out in terms of where we want to go with it, then we could do this really fun cover tune EP. And it's fun for us to record it with Jamie. It was a blast. We did it all in the night. We had a few drinks, and it was great. So it was just an easy way to give people something to listen to and put something out there while we're kind of getting all our gears together for the new album. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, is it another Jamie Folds project? Are you looking at going back to Sound Park? Are you
well, we have
this.
We haven't really decided yet for sure. I think we'll probably end up going somewhere different, only just to mix it up.
Yeah.
But we don't know. We might end up being with Jamie. Like, it's hard not to when he's really in the backyard and he's the best of the best. So it's really tough to like want to go somewhere else when you're at home. You have this amazing, super talented guy with a great studio right there. So it's like it makes it really hard to want to like branch out.
And it's really convenient that his engineering studio is right next to a brewery.
No comment.
No comment. It's just coincidental that Brett Brewing is right next to Sound Park. It just works out really, really well in that matter, right?
And we drop Redmond off at the doggy daycare when we go over, and everything's perfect.
I can see that. I can totally see that. Yeah. So, is there something new that you have for us that is a potential for the album? Like, is there something that we can open the ear? Give some
sure.
A peek of
well, what about that? Is that first one toast now? Is that in the ether? Or I could play that one again, or I could play
what?
Solo one.
I'm gonna say it is still there. It does still exist, but we have better audio now. We have better quality. So why don't we revisit? We'll jump in our DeLoreans and we'll go back a little bit here, and we'll restart this song.
I would like that because it was pretty fucked up in my earphones, you know?
Yeah. Hey. That's the world of technology
But I'll do a two-packer. I'll do two, and I don't know if they're going to be band ones or not. It's hard to tell like early on. We have to kind of jam them to see if everybody can find good parts for them. But if I was a betting man, I'd say this one's probably a good band one. I can hear the boys picking it up pretty well.
Well, the most important thing is you have to make sure that it has the right amount of notes in it that Brian's able to scream.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's the good thing. If I can sing it, Brian can sing it, no problem. So it's a good way. It's a good test.
All right, so let's go back.
But this one I played earlier, but I didn't actually. Okay, so forget about that.
Yes. All right.
But it's about staying vulnerable enough to change. You know, when you find something good, not being afraid to go all in, place your bets. You know. I get paid every other Thursday. Then on Friday nights, I get thirsty. And I'll never be rich, I live poor. But for you, girl, I want more. Wanna pull for you to dip your toes in. Trips longer than Halifax for a weekend. And I robbed the bank to make you happy. But all I can give is me. So I'll play the lotto, try to change my luck. Want the jackpot, but I take $10. Ain't a gambler, but girl, I'll bet on you and me. So you take the lead and I'll play my cards. Win this hand with my queen of hearts, and We can count our money as we cross that county line. I'll be the ace up your sleeve anytime. You loved me when I didn't love myself. Brought me home when I couldn't stop staying out. You're all that's glitter, you're all that's gold. My fortune is your hand to hold. So I'll play the lotto, try to change my luck. Want the jackpot, but I take $10. Ain't a gambler, but girl, I'll bet on you and me. So you take the lead and I'll play my cards. Win this hand with my queen of hearts, and we can count our money as we cross that county line. I'll be the ace up your sleeve anytime. I don't mind wasting time with the soul guitar. My boots, they fit just fine. I don't care how old they are. But for you, girl, I want diamonds and pearls. So I'll play the lotto, try to change my luck. Want the jackpot, but I take $10. Ain't a gambler, but girl, I'll bet on you and me. So you take the lead and I'll play my cards. Win this hand with my queen of hearts, and we can count our money as we cross that county line. I'll be the ace up your sleeve anytime. I'll be the ace up your sleeve anytime.
Awesome, man. I loved hearing that the second time. That was even better.
Good. It's always better second, third, maybe fourth time. You don't even know, right?
You know, like you said, you have to wait for everybody to jam on that, but like you can hear that song. Like, that's a pretty Archie song. You can hear that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, I think that'd be a lot of fun to jam with the boys. I'm missing jamming with all the lads, that's for sure.
Yeah, I bet. It's got to be hard. Like, you know, it's hard enough for me, like, for the first time in my daughter being 10 years old, I didn't get to spend a holiday with her. I literally dropped off her Easter basket, and that was it.
Right.
But like, you guys jam, you know, pretty continuously all the time, making music, practicing, doing this, doing that. It's got to be hard when you don't even have that option to work something out. Like, as we've proved tonight, it's really hard to live stream something with that much accuracy.
Yeah, for sure. It's really tough. The online thing's super tough to get going that way. But I think it's tough for anybody. Like, your situation's more serious than not being able to jam.
I was just using it as a reference, right? Like,
but,
I did get to see her. I did get to say hi, and I gave her stuff and that. But I mean, the social distancing aspect of the world right now, where you can't just get together and do something.
Yeah, it's tough, you know. I really miss the music and stuff, but at least the music, you know, you can play around the house to yourself and stuff. So it's not like a horrible, like, all of a sudden you can't do it anymore. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough for everybody. It's tough on us. We're missing out on a few gigs for sure, and tough to not be able to, you know. I'd be popping over Brian's or with Scott, or Matt and Red would come to Brian's. You know, we'd be doing something almost every day. And not just for the band, but just hanging out. So, you know, I have a pretty active group of friends who hang out a lot. So it's kind of,
you're not just
to go cold turkey with that. Yeah.
You're not just bandmates, you're friends. So
yeah,
yeah, you don't get to see your band and you don't get to see your friends at the same time. So
exactly. Yeah. We usually go in a self quarantine when we get back from the road. If we're on the road for about a month, we get pretty sick of each other. and then we'll go in a self-imposed week-long quarantine from each other. But it always ends up the same. It ends up on the following Saturday or Friday. You'll get the message in the group, and it'll say, "Hey boys, what are you guys doing tonight? You want to have a beer or something?" And then it starts all over again, you know. But this one's a little different.
From the get-go. It is different. Like JP Cormier was on the other night, and he said the biggest thing he misses right now, aside from playing, is the meeting the strangers. So, you know, as a musician who tours Canada and, you know, across the seas and everything, what's the one thing that you're missing right now the most, other than, you know, just jamming with the guys? Like, you're obviously missing being live and being out there.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you're right. First and foremost, it's jamming and hanging out and playing with the guys. But I love performing. It's probably one of my favorite parts about the whole thing. So not performing I usually get itchy if we don't play for 3 weeks. I'll get kind of itchy wanting to perform somewhere. So it's definitely like, I feel it on that end. I feel like I'm missing being on stage, you know, and having fun, playing some tunes and doing that kind of thing. But just missing the trips in general. Like, we were supposed to go to like northern Newfoundland and a few other ones, like in places that we always have a good time in, like Truro, you know, so little things and big ones. So you just miss everything. But I think for myself personally, performing is definitely a big one that I miss, because I just miss playing live, you know?
Yeah, it is. It is got to be a little bit different for you when you're used to a band like that.
Yeah.
Where you are always on the road and you're traveling, and, you know, as established as you are still making a name for yourselves.
Oh yeah, that doesn't end.
Yeah,
That's there's no such thing as establishment. You're just constantly trying to establish your name. But no, yeah, you're right. Like, we're still somewhere in the middle, right? You know, we've been around long enough where we're to some degree a known commodity, at least in Canada, which is good, and that helps us get certain gigs. But we're still like, yeah, we still have to play a lot to make it work money wise and things like that. So it's still one of those things we really have to, you know, we're still trying to figure out ways of getting our music out to more people and, you know, things like that. So we're still doing the kind of indie band stuff, even though we've been doing it for a decade.
yeah. Give me one quick second there, Colin.
Yeah.
Sorry, my lovely little Jack Russell Terrier ran by before and ripped the charger out of the computer when she ran by, and it started to die.
No worries.
Yeah, speaking of trying to get your music out there, like, you guys are on all platforms. You are on Apple, Spotify. You've got your own thing. You can go to your website and get stuff. You can also get some sweet, pretty Archie merch.
Right. On a good day. Oh, you know what I call that line? It's discontinued now, but that one's called the Puffin' Puffin'.
Well, I love this shirt. I actually bought this at the Making Waves Music Festival.
Yeah, I like that one too. It was Chris Tompkins from Fredericton designed that one for us.
Yeah, and you can't get much more Cape Breton than that. Like, it's enough that Smoke is Cape Breton.
Yeah.
You got a puff and having a puff.
Drinking booze.
Yeah, I don't know how much more Cape Breton you can get out of that. Yeah, I know. I love this shirt. I absolutely love it. I try not to wear it too much because me and white don't go well together. So I try not to wear it too much so I don't get it stained or anything. But
right.
I do love this shirt. So, you know, you can go on, but with streaming in that, you know, it's not a hidden secret. It takes a lot of streams to get you a paycheck.
Oh yeah, for sure. But that's true of, like, it's really true of anything now, you know? So it works both ways, where it's like the streaming, no, you're not going to make money at it, but you're also accessible to everybody in the whole world on it, you know? And it's not that you can't make a little bit of money off it if you had really good numbers and stuff, but it's more about making your stuff accessible, because nowadays, and it's always been the case for us, even when CDs were more popular, we weren't making money on CDs. You know, we'd break even, make a few bucks. But, like, But for the streaming thing, if we can send our music and it could be everywhere, and we could play a festival in Denmark or a festival in Calgary, that's because of the streaming. If it had been like back in the old days where you'd sign a record label, they'd put it on wax, you'd make $1 million, but that would be, then you're going through the record label, right? Which you don't know for sure if you're going to make it. So on one end, it's worse because you don't make money from your actual product anymore. You make money off of using that product to open up doors for festivals, and then you gain fans, and you can start getting those numbers up and making money off it. But yeah, it's not a money making business, at least not for the artists.
No, and what I was going to say to it is, and I've been guilty of this for years. Like I'm a streamer. I love streaming music, and I have my playlist that I roll in the car and everything. But I kind of made a pact to myself a while back that when a local band comes out with something unique, I'm going to make sure I contribute to it. So Fire Valley Fire, came out with their second album there, and I made sure that I bought that album because it supports those local guys. It keeps those local guys going. So, I know Atomic Records does sell your stuff. So that is one key spot that they can go pick up something. You just do have a piece of vinyl out.
Yeah, we have vinyl for our last album, Hanging On. Yeah, that's cool. The only one that's on vinyl. But there's stuff like that. And ultimately, it's like, I don't want to tell people how to listen to music, and I would never do that, And that's what I mean, where the support, you can do it in many different ways. You can buy that T-shirt, you can buy vinyl, you can buy a CD, or you can just go to a show. The shows are just as good. That's what I mean. We use some of this stuff to get us more shows. So as long if people are going out and supporting live music, if we can ever go out again, of course.
Yeah,
then,
absolutely.
Then that's as good as anything. You don't have to buy the CD every time it comes out. It's great if you do. If you want to do that, great. And lots of people do. And we're certainly appreciative. And that does put, money in our pockets. So all that counts.
It helps the next album.
But ultimately, you just support them any way you can, right? Go to a show or tell 10 friends about them.
Yeah.
Let's say you have the streaming service, you find an album you love. If you tell 10 friends, chances are one of them is going to buy something from that band somewhere down the line, right? So there's many different forms of support. It doesn't have to be direct monetary, like, how can I get this vinyl where you get the most money? It's like just support the band in general, and the money thing usually works out in the wash.
It works out in the long run.
Yeah.
Well, he said the streaming thing is a big key to success because it does help you get places that you've never been before. I can say, for example, myself, I was working at a store in Inverness almost 3 summers ago now, and I had hooked up a PA system. And when I did it, I made a Spotify list of nothing but maritime musicians. And I'm not talking about fiddle tunes. I'm talking about Pretty Archie and Matt Mays, and there was some Rankins and stuff in there. But you want so when somebody's in the store and they say, "Who is this? I've never heard of them before." Well, they're from here.
Yeah, totally.
Right. So that's a big thing. So, and like you said, tell 10 friends, or share a YouTube video on Facebook that gets your name out there. And speaking into your videos, your last few have been done by Matt Ingram, who is super talented at what he does. He's done incredible jobs and is very good with the local landscape. I remember after the last video came out, a friend of mine who lives in South Bar, who's a cop, he's like, they recorded me and I didn't know about it, because after the hitchhiking part, he drives by. He's like, that's my truck. I
got him in trouble. Got him in trouble at the precinct.
He was more impressed that he was in a music video, unknowingly in a music video at that. So,
I was joking the other day for another one Ingram shot was This Whole Town, our first single from the latest record. And that's my brother and my sister-in-law in that video. And they just had a young one. So I was joking with him the other day saying that he's not even going to know that they're movie stars.
Well, no, he'll have no idea. The money will be spent before the royalties will be well.
Yeah, that's right.
He's even old enough to know it.
I got them on a good deal. I can say that much.
I bet. So, is there plans other than I know you did Linger? Matthew shot Linger as well in studio.
Yeah,
You know,
Matt. Well, so what Matt did, he came that whole night that we recorded that. So there's actually a video for all of those songs. So we're gonna put them out once every little bit. You know, like probably put the next one out pretty soon. Actually, I don't know which one it'll be. We'll kind of pick names out of a hat, I think.
Which
but
is
yeah,
probably...
so there's like that type of style video, like a behind the scenes style studio video for all of those, because we just kind of did it all in one night. We brought Ingram in and Jamie, and it was really fun. That's kind of what we wanted to like capture. Let's just
I
have the time.
absolutely love being in the studio and watching it unfold. I got to go in with the Town Heroes a couple months ago while they're recording, like finishing the recording of the new album. And it's so cool just to see how it all comes together. And not everybody gets to do that.
No, it for sure. And it's kind of like, it's natural, you know, you see where these things come from, how it works. So it kind of gives you a little bit of background that way, which makes you like it more because you see how it came together, you know?
Right, it's all cool to press play on Spotify or throw a disc in the CD player and listen to it and that, but like to actually see how it's crafted and molded. You know, I've never been in with Jamie in Sound Park, but I was with Sheppy out at Lakewood Sound and just watching what they do.
It's a whole art form in itself, man. It's really insane.
I told Sheppy when I was there, I was like, Sheppy, honestly, you're giving me motion sickness watching your hands because it's insanity. The movement out of them.
They get those hotkeys going, and it's just ridiculous.
It's like they're flying a spaceship, like they're ready to go, and they just there's buttons that you don't even think are buttons, and they're hitting them and flicking them, and it does this and it does that, and then they play it back, and you go.
I feel like every musician too is always like, I'd love to be a producer, you know, I'd love to have my own little studio. And I think part of me maybe thought of that, and then you'd go in, you see these guys work, and they're just like, they're not even human, you know, they're alien how fast they can do all this stuff. And it's all so much technical prowess you need for it. I would immediately, first day in Jamie's, I was like, never mind. I don't want nothing to do with that.
Yep. I'll just keep learning instruments and playing.
Yeah.
All right. So do you have another tune for us, Colin? Like, you know?
Yeah, I'll play another one.
All right. We got one more there. We'll get one more out of you before we call her a night.
Yeah. It's kind of neat. We'll see, you know, you can put these in the Yahtzee shaker and see if any of them end up coming out as Archie tunes or not, you know?
Yeah, and the best part is anybody that's listening tonight can officially say they heard that song before it was on the album.
Exactly.
Heard it first here on
Okay, so yeah, I'll do this last one here. It's kind of about...
you actually have I'm sorry to cut you off there, but you have a guy saying that he's enjoying this show right now from Brussels, Belgium.
Belgium, all right.
Belgium. So yeah, and we got Nanaimo, BC. So like, you're all over the place right now. Yeah, that's great. So hey there, Glenn and Trudy McNell. I know Belgium. That's, I think, the farthest reach I've gotten so far that I know of. So yeah.
Yeah, we got to get down there.
Yeah.
They've got beer there, right?
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure they have beer in Belgium. I think they have chocolate too. Maybe. I'm sure Glenn can. Glenn, if you know anybody in Belgium that can book these guys when the world comes back to one piece, get a hold of these. I'm sure we'll get there at some point. I can't wait to set my pool up in the backyard so I have an extra reason not to leave my house.
Yeah.
But yeah, Glenn, get a hold of these guys, book them. PrettyArchie.com or PrettyArchie Band?
PrettyArchie.com.
PrettyArchie.com. Get on there, buy your merch, book the band, do all those things. Colin?
Yeah.
Take it away, buddy.
Well, this one's it's one about the end of a relationship, and maybe it ended a different way than you thought it did, you know? And you're looking back, but then you realize all those feelings, it doesn't really matter how it ends, you know, because it ends and it sucks equally either way. Said I was never home, and she was always alone. And we ain't ever talked. Girl, I was getting paid each time I was away, and I never missed a call. Girl, you've been found out, and it's all I can think about. Well, I could be wrong, but your eyes say I'm right, and I don't believe anything that I've heard tonight. So take all your tears and take mine too, and save them all up for someone new. You don't love me, that's fine, until the nighttime, when you're running around in my dreams. Everything I did wrong keeps me from sleeping long, and I'm coming apart at the seams. Girl, your high ground is gone. Fell off that pedestal I put you on. Well, I could be wrong, but your eyes say I'm right, and I don't believe anything that I've heard tonight. So take all your tears and take mine too, and save them all up for someone new. How far could I drive before I'd have to fly just to get me out of here? And I've been looking for the bright side of this life, and it's always in the rear view mirror. Girl, you've been found out, and it's all I can think about. Well, I could be wrong, but your eyes say I'm right, and I don't believe anything that I've heard tonight. So take all your tears and take mine too, and save them all up for someone new. For someone new.
I like that one.
Oh, thank you.
It's a pretty one.
Yeah.
Kind of gives me a little feeling like kind of like a hardwood floor.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, it's got that kind of ring, I suppose.
Yeah, I love hardwood floor. I remember that was like I said, we recorded that video well before it was even on an album. That was way back,
hot off the press then. Yeah,
that was crazy. Matt was still playing the stand-up bass and everything with this electrical tape all over his fingers. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that wasn't a yesterday tune, but I mean, I love Hardwood Floor Tree from the get go, and then once it came out in North End Sky,
Yeah.
even.
No, we've been playing that one a few times lately. Actually, it's one of those things, man. There's like we there's so many of these ones we hardly ever play anymore that people always ask for, and you just don't think of it, until after the show. Something, oh, we were hoping you'd play this one. We were hoping you'd play that one, and you're like, oh man, I really like that song, but yeah,
Well,
you can only
like,
play so many, I guess.
to be fair, like the 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 Steel City album, I mean, there's not a bad song on it. Like your first album that you put out, every song was good on it, right? And everybody
Well,
has a favorite from that album, right? I mean, I don't know how many times I've listened to Neat Feet.
Yeah,
It was funny. Brandon Bates played a tune there at the end of our show, and when he was done, I had to ask him if it was the song or the same girl in the song from the Neat Feet song that his brother played, because they had a lot of similarities to them. But I mean, that album was great, and then North End Sky was good, and then Sing Along Love Songs was good, and then you got your EP out. So like you can see the progression in the building of the band with the music, and it just keeps getting better and better and better. So I'm excited for when the next album comes out and the shows start getting a little bit bigger. And
yeah, it's thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's fun for us. Like I said, that's kind of part of like growing up on the fly, growing up in the pubs playing. If you're playing in front of people while you're still learning to write songs and while you're still learning to put this stuff together, that's kind of a compliment for us. I think, that we're always getting better, because I think we feel like that. We feel like we're always getting more comfortable with our crafts and stuff. So and it makes sense because, yeah, like I said, we hopped in both feet, didn't look back kind of thing. So we had some growing pains for sure early on. And
yeah, because like
so
I'm literally looking at the back of this album, and it's Pretty Archie 2013. Like,
yeah, and we
that's 7 years ago.
I know, man.
It's crazy that it happens just like that, but
yeah,
that's 7 years. That's a long way of going. Actually,
yeah,
it's so old that the cover doesn't even exist anymore. The house in the background is now gone.
that's true.
That's how old it is.
Yeah,
Somebody the day they were tearing that down, and somebody messaged me and they sent me a picture of this album, and they said, "Where's this album cover from?" And I'm like, "Downtown Sydney, right across from like the Cambridge Suites." Why? They're like, "They're tearing that building down. Did you take that picture?" I'm like, "No, I didn't take that picture, but that is the building. You are correct. That is that house. It's gone now, though."
Yeah, that one's there. And the very first EP, Brian and Mac put together like 2 songs while they were working out west, and it was kind of what sparked us into starting the band, because we were all over the place. And they put together 2 or 3 songs. And that EP, we printed off, I think maybe 50 of them for our very first like couple shows. And it had the old boat that was half sunk in the harbor there.
Yes, I remember that. I remember that. Actually, I think you could still Google search that album cover, but I do remember that album going around, and it was that old ship. And
yeah, it was, which is funny. So that's 2 out of the 4 or 5 albums, right, that aren't there. So we got to be careful. We got to be careful what we put on the next record.
Yeah, I'm kind of afraid talking to you now. He raced out tomorrow. But yeah, thankfully, North End Sky, I think, is just a picture of the North End Sky. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's hard to get rid of the sky. There.
Yeah. I would be worried about the sing-alongs and love songs because you're all on the cover of that one, and you're
that's true.
You're all on the cover of Running for Cover too. So
yeah, that's right. So we might all perish.
It might end up being like the Back to the Future pictures where someone just eventually starts fading away.
Yeah, we can barely stay in the present. All right, we can't be hopping timelines now.
Absolutely. Do you have one more for us, Colin? Do you think you got one more in you?
I don't know.
You got one more to close us out. We'll end it on this note right here.
All right. Yeah, I'll play one.
Pretty Archie tune. This could be a Colin Gillis tune. This could be a cover tune. This could be whatever you want. Yeah,
maybe I'll do a cover. And I feel like it's maybe safe to play this one now. This one's by my very favorite songwriter of all time. That's Fred Eaglesmith. We had a band We had a band party when we went to see him at the Triangle, and he was here last. Pretty Archie corporate party. But it's safe to play this now. It's because we're finally starting. I think the weather's finally starting to change.
Yeah,
but I know, like, I don't know, it was last week or the week before. I'm losing track of time now with this quarantine. But when we got that other snow, there was another 15 centimeters, 20 centimeters we got. And it reminded me of this song because it's just, there's nothing more depressing than an early April snowstorm. There's really there's nothing worse.
Well, you're in Cape Breton. We're bound to see it. It's
exactly.
never fails. You're going to get one.
But you trick yourself into believing they're not going to come every year. But I think we're out of it now, so I think it's safe to play this one. I hope I didn't jinx it. But it's by my favorite songwriter of all time, Mr. Fred Eaglesmith. And this one's called Cumberland County. I drive a snowplow for Cumberland County, covered up with flashing lights and chains. And I got a contract with the Cumberland Township, keep all them county roads clean. Well, I was born and raised up in Cumberland County. All of my good friends, they live there. And they flash the porch lights when I go by. Lately I just don't care, 'cause there's a curve out on the old town line. It always drifts in exactly the same. I can take it out with just one sweep. My plow turned a particular way, but it never stopped snowing in Cumberland County, and my work don't ever get done. Lately I've been thinking of driving this snowplow straight into the sun. Had a wife and kids up in Cumberland County. I don't see them much anymore. I guess they got tired of the same old story. Tired of the sparks against the snow. But there's a curve out on the old town line. It always just in exactly the same. I can take it out with just one sweep. My plow turned a particular way, but it never stopped snowing in Cumberland County, and my work don't ever get done. And lately I've been thinking of driving this snowplow straight into the sun. Well, you can be anything you want to be. That's what they told me when I left school. I took the first thing they offered me. Now I'm just another snowblind fool, and it never stops snowing in Cumberland County, and my work don't ever get done. But lately I've been thinking of driving this snowplow straight into the sun. Yeah, lately I've been thinking of driving this snowplow straight into the sun.
Colin, thank you very much for tonight. I know we had some technical difficulties in the beginning there, but I think we got her up and running. We got viewership from all around the world.
I appreciate you having me, Sean. Though.
Yeah, I'm glad that you jumped in there on the weekend and just said, "Hey, I'll give it a try." And my first thing was, I didn't even know Colin sang other than harmonies in the background. So this is cool. I can't wait. So yeah. I really appreciate you jumping.
And now you know I don't.
Well, now
you didn't think it. Now you know I don't.
Absolutely. I had a cancellation. I had somebody was right. I'll get back to you, and then they had something coming up, so they ended up having to cancel on it. So that's ended up. Well, we ended up with Colin tonight. So I really do appreciate you coming on, man. It was great to hear you. It was great to hear the stories from you about Pretty Archie and what's happening with the band and everything that's going on with you yourself. So again, Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Sean. Appreciate it.
No problem at all. Next week, I can't tell you for sure who is being here. I'm still waiting on that answer, but I can tell you that on the 27th, Andre Pettipas of Andre Pettipas and the Giants is going to be on here. I'm very excited for that. My buddy Mitch Cuzner helped me out with that one. He sent me a shout out. I know you guys have seen and worked with Mitch as well.
Mitch, and we know the Pettipas boys pretty well too.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to Mitch the other day, and he suggested that I hook up with Andre there. So we're going to bring him on the 27th. So we got him booked on for sure. So if you're listening and you're an Andre Pettipas fan, mark that on your calendars for sure. We will have it out soon enough at advertising that it's going to be going on. But with that being said, we're going to wrap the show up now. I'd like to give a shout out to all those people that are still working in the world. You are greatly appreciated, right from the corner stores up to the healthcare. If you're out there working and putting up with people every day during a most terrifying time to go to work every day, I sure as hell appreciate you. And for the rest of the world, if you don't need to be out there,
stay home.
Be like me and Colin. Stay at home. Don't go anywhere. Just sit home.
That's right.
Find a new hobby. There's all kinds of things. You might be like Colin. You might figure out that you can sing after all. All right, folks. Good night. Thank you so much, Colin, again.
Have a good one, Sean. Appreciate it, man.
See you next Monday.